Hello everybody, welcome to Yoga for First Responders. I am Heather and today we're going to do a gentle hip opening flow. Our hips get super tight for all of us, whether we are sitting during the day or whether we're athletes and running and biking. We just hold a lot of tightness, a lot of stress and just stuff in those hips. So we're just going to move around a little bit, move with our breath, and try to open up, relax through those hips a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. Find a comfortable seat on your mat. As always, you're welcome to sit with your hips lifted. You can place a blanket, a bolster, a pillow, anything underneath those hips to kind of help lift and elevate the hips so they are about level or higher than those knees. So take a moment to find your seat. Feel free to move around side to side, maybe rock forward and back. Just see if you can sit fairly even on those sitting bones, the bottom of those hip bones that you feel connected with the mat underneath you. And then as you find your space, let's take a few shoulder rolls, just drawing them all the way up towards those ears and then back and down, just a few circles here. And try rolling them both directions. Maybe try drawing them back and up and then forward and down. Just a few times as we start to move around, beginning to wake up through the body. And then go ahead and relax those shoulders down the back. Lifting tall through the crown of the head, slightly tucking the chin so you find a little bit of space through the back of the neck here. And just for the first few moments, let's bring our awareness to the breath. Like I've said before, our breath is always there with us, right? Something that we do without even thinking about it. But when we do think about it, when we bring our awareness to it, it has the ability to bring us into the present moment, no matter what's going on around us, just by bringing awareness to that breath, especially that exhale as we slow down the breath out, even just a tiny bit more. It helps to kick on that parasympathetic nervous system, that nervous system that helps calm the body. So let's take about 5 breaths here. Feel free to bring those hands to the belly. And just see if you can feel any kind of movement underneath that belly as you breathe. Try to soften, relax through the front of the belly. So as you inhale, it has space to expand and rise. And then on the breath out, maybe you feel it slightly come back in. Just 3 more breaths here. Nice deep breaths in and long breaths out. And one more full breath here. And then go ahead and release those hands back to those legs or to the floor. And on that next inhale, let's reach those arms all the way up. Connecting those hands, exhaling those hands down to your heart center. And then as we breathe in, let's reach those hands straight back up. And on the breath out, reaching those arms out and down. So a couple breaths like that. Inhaling as you reach out and up. Connecting those fingertips, connecting the palms, exhaling your hands to your heart. Inhale, hands all the way back up. Maybe look up at those hands and exhaling all the way out and down. One more breath like that. So we begin to open through the side body. Exhaling, hands down to your heart center. Maybe your thumbs connect with the heart. Inhaling as you reach back up. And exhaling all the way out and down. Let's bring those hands forward out in front of those legs. And we're just going to slowly walk those hands out in front of us. Now they might not go very far, that's totally okay. But just try to bring those palms to the floor, the fingertips to the floor. Walking them forward as far as you can. We're still warming up through the body. But as we start to extend through the spine and hinge at the hips, you might start to feel a little opening through the outer hips. Just take a nice full deep breath in here as you lift through the spine. Try to lift, reaching forward through the crown of the head. And then on the breath out, just relaxing those shoulders, relaxing the head down towards the floor. One more breath here. And then inhaling as we walk those hands back up. Uncrossing those legs, we're going to cross them the other way, so the other leg in front or on top. might feel a little bit awkward on this side. We tend to cross our legs the same way every time. Again, just something we do without thinking about it. And this time as we breathe in, let's reach both arms back up. On the breath out, we'll lower that right hand to the floor. Inhale, reach the left arm up a little bit higher. Grounding down through that left hip. Really try to keep it connected with the floor. And just get a nice opening through the left side of the body. One more inhale, reaching straight up. And then on the exhale, maybe add a little side bend, reaching over towards the side of the room. And then slowly switching those arms as the right hand lifts on the breath in. On the breath out, try to ground down through that right hip. And inhale, reaching a little bit taller like you're trying to touch the ceiling above you. Exhaling, leaning, reaching over to the side. And then slowly releasing both hands all the way down. And inhale, once more, arms reach all the way up. And on the exhale, we're going to turn the whole torso towards the right side, opening those arms. One hand comes to the knee, the other hand comes behind the body. And then inhaling as you reach back up. And exhaling as we turn to the opposite side. Inhaling as we lift. And let's just go 2 times each side. Exhaling as we twist. Inhale, lifting tall through the low belly, through the crown of the head. Exhaling, twisting to the opposite side. Once more each side, just moving with your breath. And exhaling as you twist. On the inhale, we'll bring those arms all the way back up, connecting those hands, lowering them down to your heart center, and bring them to the floor out in front of you. Same thing like we did on the opposite side. We're just slowly, gently walking those hands forward, hands about shoulder width apart. Reaching through the chest, but try to draw back through those hips, keeping those sitting bones connected with the floor as much as you can here. So not only beginning to open through those outer hips a little bit, but also find some length, finding some extension through the spine and that lower back. So 2 more breaths as you inhale, try to lift through the spine, reaching the heart forward, and exhaling as you relax over the floor, over those legs. 1 more full breath here. And then slowly walking those hands back up. Go ahead and uncross those legs. We'll bring both legs out in front. Maybe we shake them out a little bit. I know we're there for a little bit. Sometimes it's hard on those hips, on that lower back. Then let's go ahead and come up to standing. So making your way up onto those feet. Towards the front of your mat here. And just finding your base. Once again, grounding down through those feet, just like we were grounding down into those sitting bones. Connecting each toe with the mat, grounding down through the heel, but then try to lift up through the arches of the feet. I know that seems kind of counteractive there, but we ground down as we lift up, so 2 directions, nice and strong through the whole body. As you find your base, as you find your breath, on the next inhale, let's reach those arms all the way up. Exhaling, hands find the heart center. Inhaling as we lift. Exhaling, hands through the heart. This time let's bend those knees, hinging at those hips, and folding over those legs. Untucking that head. Go ahead and just allow it to relax. Maybe shake that head yes and no a few times. Releasing any tension you might be holding on to in the neck and the shoulders. And then as you bring the head back to center, finding a deep bend in those knees. Again, feel those big toes connecting with the mat as you slowly make your way back up to standing. And then exhaling, hands to your heart center. Okay, we're going to bring our hands to our thighs here. Finding a little bend in those knees. So we're not quite dropping down in a chair, just a little bend as we sit those hips back. Hands are resting gently on those thighs. We're just going to move through a few standing cat and cows as we open through the hips and the back a little bit more. So on our breath in, we want to draw those shoulders back and down and try to just lift the chest up towards the ceiling. On the breath out, we're going to round through the spine. Drawing the belly in, the chin comes towards the chest. Inhaling, we're going to lift the tailbone, lift the crown of the head, shoulder blades squeeze together, and then exhaling as we round. Drawing in through that low belly, shoulders come forward. 2 more times each direction. Inhale as we lift forward. exhaling as we round. And one more time. Keeping our spine nice and healthy. Exhaling as we round. Inhale as we stand up tall. Let's bring those arms up with us. And exhale, bending the knees, folding over those legs, forward fold. On the breath in, let's inhale, halfway lift. Bring those hands to those legs, draw those shoulders back and down, nice long spine. Exhaling, forward fold, hands find the floor, and we'll slowly step both feet back to our downward dog. Feel free to stay here for a few breaths. You can walk out those heels. Might be your first downward dog of the day, so feel free to adjust as needed. Play around with that space between those hands and the feet. Maybe you move through the shoulders, through the hips, whatever feels best here. But try to keep those fingertips connected and grounded down into the mat, especially the pointer finger and the thumb. As we ground down a little more into those four fingers, it helps take some pressure off of those wrists. One more full breath here. And then on the inhale, let's come forward into our plank. Lowering down to both knees and exhale, bending those elbows, hugging them in along your sides as we lower all the way down. Inhaling, lifting the heart, lifting the shoulders into your cobra. Once again, try to squeeze those shoulder blades together down the back. Exhaling as you relax. Inhaling back up to those knees, tucking your toes, reaching your hips back, and lifting the hips up, downward dog. All right, on our inhale, we're going to reach our right leg up. Reaching it back behind you. Doesn't have to be very high, but try to lift up through that right heel. The left heel might get a little closer towards the floor. One more breath in as you reach back through that right heel, and exhale, bending the right knee. Drawing it forward towards those hands and stepping that foot towards the front of your mat. You can always reach back and help that ankle forward. We'll lower down to the left knee, untucking those toes. Finding your balance really helps to press or ground down into that right heel. Slowly inhale, let's reach those arms up. And exhaling, lowering those hands to your heart. Now as we lower the hands to the heart, we want to try to reach that left hip forward and down towards the mat. We're going to move with our breath a few times. So as we inhale, coming back up, bringing the hip right above the knee. And then on the exhale, gently reach that left hip forward as those hands come to your heart. So inhaling as we lift. Exhale, hands to your heart, slowly shifting that weight forward. Once more, inhale, lifting up tall. And exhaling as you reach that hip forward, pausing right here. Now, if we don't feel much of a sensation or an opening through that left hip, you can always try to walk that right foot forward slightly. Just trying to have that hip slightly on in front of that knee. It might not be very far, and that is totally okay. But just pause for 2 more breaths here. Focusing on drawing the right hip back, the left hip forward. Okay, very slowly go ahead and lower both hands to the floor. We're going to keep our left hand on the floor here, and on the inhale, we're going to reach this right arm up towards the ceiling, turning towards that right knee. Now this time as we move with our breath, so check out that right knee, see if we can keep it right above that right ankle. So as we inhale, we're going to have the right arm reaching up, the right knee stays above the ankle, but on the exhale, we're going to reach the right hand back towards the toes, and we're going to allow this right knee to open out to the side, if it can. So rolling onto the outer edge of the foot. So inhaling, we bring the knee back to center, the arm reaches back up. Exhaling, the knee opens out to the side as we reach the right hand back. Inhaling as we lift the arm, bringing the knee back to center. Exhale, knee opens to the side, right hand reaches back. And one last time, as you inhale and reach that arm up. Exhaling, gently opening that right knee out towards the right side. And then go ahead and slowly bring the hand back to the mat. We'll tuck those left toes and let's step our right foot back to our downward dog. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and a long breath out through the mouth. Okay, on our inhale, let's come forward back to our plank. You can come to the knees and lower all the way down, or stay on those toes and lower halfway down. Just on that exhale, elbows bend. And inhale, lifting the heart forward and up. Exhale, engaging that lower belly, lifting those hips up high. Take a moment to pause here and just notice the left hip and the right hip. On your next inhale, as you feel ready, let's lift our left leg, reaching it back and up. Try to lift up through that left heel. Maybe that right heel is able to relax a little closer towards the floor. Both legs are engaged. One more breath in, lifting up through the left leg. And then on the breath out, bending that left knee, drawing it forward, stepping that foot towards the front of the mat, helping the ankle through or walking the hands back till they meet up with that foot, finding your runner's lunge. And we'll lower down to that right knee, untucking the toes. On the breath in, slowly grounding down into that front heel as we lift those arms all the way up. And on the breath out, let's find our heart center. So getting ready to move with your breath. As always, for more stability, you can create a little more space widthwise in between those legs. So you can always walk that foot out to the side a little bit or find a shorter stance. So on our inhale, we're going to reach these arms up, lifting nice and tall, so bringing that right hip right above the right knee. And then on the exhale, we bend a little deeper into that left knee. Hands find our heart center as we reach this right hip down and forward. Inhaling as we lift back up. Connecting the hands, exhaling, hands to your heart. That right hip reaches forward. A few times with that breath. As we inhale and lift up tall. Exhaling as we bend. Once more, inhaling as we lift. And exhaling, pausing. As that left hip draws back, the right hip reaches forward. Pausing for 3 breaths here. Again, just try to notice how you are breathing. I know it's not a very comfortable spot to be in. Big part of yoga is learning to be comfortable with discomfort. Because that's kind of how life is sometimes, right? All right, go ahead and release those hands all the way down to the floor. We'll keep our right hand on the floor. And inhale, let's reach that left arm up towards the sky. Okay, finding our movement here. As we breathe in, we reach up towards the ceiling. This left knee comes right above that left ankle. And then on the breath out, we're allowing this left knee to open out to the side, rolling onto the outer edge of that left foot and reaching that left hand back. Inhaling as the knee comes back in, the arm reaches up. Exhaling as we reach back, allowing that left hip, the left knee to open. Inhaling up. 2 more times with that breath. Exhale, reaching back. Inhaling as we lift. And 1 more time. Exhale, allowing the knee to come out to the side, reaching back towards those toes. And then inhale all the way back. Bringing your hand to the floor. Lifting that back knee, creating space to step that front foot back, and maybe walk out those heels in your downward dog. All right. Once more on that breath in, let's come forward to our plank, reaching forward through the crown of the head, drawing those shoulder blades back, and exhale, bending those elbows, hugging them in along your sides. Inhaling as you lift through the crown of the head. Exhaling, downward dog. Okay, next breath in, right leg's gonna lift back up. This time, if you would like, you can bend that right knee and open the hip to the side. Maybe turn your gaze underneath that right arm. Get a nice opening through the front of those hips. And then slowly bring those hips back to center and exhale as we draw the knee forward. Stepping that foot through in between those hands. All right, we're gonna step this left foot in a little bit, dropping the heel, turning the foot out to the side. Slowly making your way up to our warrior 1. Bending that front knee just so it comes above the ankle. And then exhale, opening arms out to the side, warrior 2. So adjusting those feet as needed. Go ahead and straighten through that front leg. As we inhale, we're gonna reach forward through those right fingertips till you can't reach any further. And then slowly, all we do is move those arms. Right hand lowers, left arm lifts. Stacking those shoulders. And then as we pause right here, you might start to feel a little opening through the side of the hip, the side of the torso, maybe even into that lower back a little bit. Now you can stay and hold for about 3 breaths, or you can inhale, reach that left arm forward, exhale, reach it back up. Maybe giving that a try and just see if that affects or changes what you feel through here. Maybe a little stretch, maybe a little opening, maybe nothing at all, and that's okay too. Just one more breath. And slowly on that inhale, go ahead and lift the whole torso. We'll bend through that front knee back to our warrior 2. Left arm comes forward, warrior 1. And exhale, lowering those hands to the floor. We're going to walk this right foot over to the left side of the mat. Slowly lowering that right knee down to the floor. And then the left knee lowers, untucking the toes. And then maybe we'll walk those hands back a little bit, trying to center those hips with one another. Sometimes we tend to sit off onto the right side here. Try to just keep them centered over the mat, so it's okay if that right hip is not connected with the floor. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. So with those hands on the floor, you can always stay right here for support and just focus on lifting from the lower belly all the way up, but relaxing those hips down towards the floor. And you can stay right here, or you can slowly lower down to those forearms. Maybe you stack your hands and create space for the forehead to rest, or you can just drop the chin towards the chest and allow the head to relax. And again, just tuning into the body. And just notice what your attention is drawn to first. Maybe you feel something in the outer right hip, or maybe the front of the left hip, or maybe somewhere else. As we pause here, you're just giving yourself time to notice. Time to change something if needed, to adjust. Allowing yourself the freedom to come out of it if needed. And to just breathe. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Okay, when you feel ready, bringing those hands back to the floor, and we'll slowly walk them up, lifting the torso. Then let's tuck the left toes, lifting the left knee, lifting the hips, and stepping that right foot back. Feel free to lift that right leg and you can shake it out a little bit, or you can just lower the foot straight down to the floor. Eventually making your way back to your downward dog. Take a few breaths here, or you can move through a flow. Inhaling forward to plank, exhaling, lowering halfway all the way down, and inhale, cobra or upward dog. Making your way back to your downward dog, and then moving on to the opposite side. On that next breath in, let's lift our left leg, reaching it back and up. If you're comfortable, you can bend that left knee and open the hip to the side, turning that gaze underneath that left arm. And then slowly bring those hips back to center. Exhale, drawing that knee forward, stepping that foot through towards the front of your mat. Dropping the right heel, turning the foot out to the side, and very slowly we'll make our way up to standing, up to that warrior 1, and then exhaling out to the sides, warrior 2. Straightening through our front knee. Inhale, reaching the left arm forward as far as you can, till you can't any further. Keeping the torso as it is, all we do is move the arms. Left arm reaches down towards the floor, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Try to gently draw that right hip back. Connecting with your breath. Maybe you stay right here, or you can move. Inhale, reaching that right arm forward. Exhaling, reaching it back up. Inhaling, bring that bicep close to the ear. Exhaling, lift. Just one more full breath. Try and keep awareness in that right hip, the lower back. And then that next breath in, using the strength of your core to help lift the whole torso back up. We'll bend through that front knee. Bring that right arm forward, warrior one. And then exhaling both hands to the floor. Lifting that back heel. And then we'll slowly walk that left foot over to the right side. Lowering that left knee down, then the right knee lowers, untucking the toes. And to adjust in this space, if you want to make or take this deeper, you would just walk this right foot back further. If you want it to be less intense, you'd walk the right foot forward. But once this knee is here on the ground, we want to keep it just as it is to protect that knee joint. It's in a very sensitive spot there. So feel free to stay lifted on those hands. Focus on centering those hips with one another, centering them over the mat. And you can inhale and exhale here, or you can slowly lower down to the forearms, the forehead, wherever feels best. You can always do this if you're healing your knee, or if this is painful in any way on that knee joint. You can always do this seated with your ankle crossed over the knee, or you can do it laying down on your back. Same thing. You can still get a good hip opener through that outer left hip. So just finding your space, finding your breath, and then just watch and notice what physical sensations might arise or what thoughts might come through the mind. About 3 more breaths here. Okay, on that next inhale, as you feel ready, grounding down into those palms, walking those hands up as we lift through the upper body, tucking the right toes, lifting the knee, lifting the hip, and we'll step that left foot back and all the way up. Feel free to shake out that leg. You can bend the knee, circle out the hip, or just lower your foot to the mat. Making your way back to your downward dog, and then slowly lower into both knees. We're going to create a little bit of space in between those knees, big toes come together, and then slowly sit those hips back into a child's pose. Forehead can rest on the mat, you can rest on your hands. If this is uncomfortable on the knees or the hips, you can always be up here seated. 3 breaths here. Again, just taking a pause to check in. As you're ready, slowly walking those hands back up. Let's bring those knees so they're pointing straight ahead, and then go ahead and come all the way up onto those knees. Bringing our hands to our lower back, taking a nice big shoulder roll down and back, and as we breathe in, we're going to lift the heart, the chest up towards the ceiling, and on the breath out, dropping those shoulders down away from these ears. Now staying strong through those legs, engaging those thighs, and very, very gently pressing those hips forward. Even though it feels like we're leaning back, try to continue to lift up through the chest for 1 more breath. And then go ahead and come back to center, swinging those feet around to the side, and scooting your way to the front of your mat. Okay, as you come back to the center of your mat, we're going to extend our right leg out to the diagonal, out to the side. The left foot can come in alongside the leg. Flexing through that right foot, go ahead and bring that right arm down to the leg, maybe palm facing up. And as we breathe in, let's reach that left arm up toward the ceiling. Just like we did at the beginning of the practice today, try to ground down, get a little heavier into that left hip. So you can reach in two directions. Now as you inhale and lift straight up, on the exhale, maybe start to reach overhead towards that right foot. Again, here you might feel it through the lower back, through the side of the hip. It's a great opening for the back of that psoas muscle, which is a big hip stabilizer muscle that also holds a lot of stress and tension. So let's give it 3 breaths here. And on the next inhale, we'll lift all the way back up, bringing that left hand behind us, right hand comes to the knee. Inhale, sitting a little taller, grounding down through that right heel, and then very slowly turning to the side. Looking over that back shoulder, finding a gentle twist. And then slowly making your way back to center. Switching sides, go ahead and extend that opposite leg here. We'll bring the arm down alongside, palm facing up. And as we breathe in, we'll reach the right arm straight up towards the ceiling. Pause right there for a breath or two. Grounding down into that right hip, reaching up through that right hand. And once more, inhale, lifting straight up. Exhale as we start to reach overhead towards that foot. Finding the breath, bringing awareness just to wherever you feel an opening. 2 more breaths here. You can relax through the head, through the neck. And then inhale, slowly sitting back up. We'll bring that right hand behind, left hand comes to the knee. Inhale, lifting a little taller from the lower belly all the way up, and exhaling as we turn to the side, looking over that back shoulder. And then slowly making your way back to center. We'll bring both feet back out in front of us. Let's bring those feet flat to the floor. Hands come to the front of those knees. And let's just move through a few seated cat-cows as we wrap things up. So inhaling as we lift tall, rolling those shoulders back and down. Exhaling as we round through the back. Drawing in through those hips, the lower belly draws in. Inhaling as we come forward and up. And exhaling as we round it out. And just once more each direction. Okay, go ahead and make your way back up to neutral spine, finding a comfortable seat here. Now, as we finish up, you are always welcome to end the video and then lay down on your back and take about 5 minutes in Shavasana, just wherever you feel comfortable. It's a great way to just let the body absorb everything that you've just done, and also important to just practice being still and start to learn our thought patterns, what we do in stillness. So feel free to do that. Otherwise, we will finish up. So go ahead and find a nice tall spine. On the next breath in, let's take a breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And then a nice deep breath in through the nose. Long breath out through the mouth. Thanks for joining me today in opening those hips. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Can't wait to see you next time. Namaste.